And again, this is just, it's not that many people, and I kind of expected that. It is Memorial Day, so in remembrance of all that have our brothers and sisters that gave all. So just a moment of silence for them. It's not for us, it's for those who aren't here anymore. So just God bless them. So I'll keep this kind of short too. Basically, our next trip is Merrimack coming up this Saturday. I think I have it scheduled to start at 9. Like I said, I'll be there a little early just to kind of make sure we got a nice little spot and all that. And they kind of, our favorite spot, or the favorite spot that I like, is what they kind of rope off, and it's kind of right past the main parking lot, and there's parking right there. So it's easy for us to kind of park and just look for my gray truck, and I'll have a little canopy up, and I'll try to put a Project Healing Waters banner up so you guys can find me. And then get from there, it's just go out, fish. I know we have one participant, Scott, showing up. He'll be there, trying to think, a little bit late, because it is on a Saturday. He works for the post office, so he works Monday through Saturday and only has Sunday off. So he tried to get off but couldn't. So I think he only works until like maybe 11. So he'll have all his gear in his vehicle, and right after work he'll be meeting us. So we'll have the one participant. Again, you're driving, if you're going in the Syntax gas station, grab a, kind of thinking about it, grab a sub there, and then I'll reimburse people on those. So like I said, I have a little bit of money coming our way, and we're doing budgets. So I think our fiscal year starts in October. So we start planning our budgets this year. So other than that, Merrimack is fun. It's our closest trout park. It does fish a little bit different from Bennett for sure. Yeah. That was the first time I was there that park actually does well for me with woolly buggers, where I could strip them in and I actually try to catch them. I think I did well at Merrimack, and then I tried to go to Bennett and doing the same stuff and couldn't catch a trout to save my life at Bennett until someone showed me how to fish under, a nymph under an indicator, and that's kind of been my go-to now. But Merrimack, I actually seem like the fish kind of like bigger flies. Seems like the smaller I go at Bennett, the better I do. But at Merrimack, it kind of flips. The bigger you go, the better you have luck with it. So even last time I was there, it's kind of like a wintertime, I think. And I was actually trying one of those squirrel zonker stuff and caught a fish that I was on my bucket list while I was wanting to catch it. And by the time I figured out what it was and tried to get a net to it, he was gone. But it was one of those chain pickerel. So it looks like a little miniature northern pike. So I had it on, but since I didn't give him a net, he doesn't count. So I know they're out there. I might kind of chase those a little bit while we're out there. But for me, it seems like bigger jigs under an indicator work great, or stripping a woolly bugger. So while we're just chatting, I'm going to kind of put to my other view, and I'll kind of tie up a couple things that work for me, and we'll just go from there. So I'm just going to go to speaker view, and then pin myself, change over the video.
I was going to say, Terry, I need to get you out to come out someday to the lake out at Scott. I've been having pretty fair luck out there in both bluegill and bass.
Let's go.
Yep, that would be a good one too. I mean, you two guys come in to Missouri all the time. If you guys want to call Scott Air Force Base, that'd be kind of cool for me too. I mean, I'd like to go do it, and that way we could do an Illinois trip out there. So I'll
Yeah, we
get with
just
you
have to
guys.
see who does or doesn't have a ID card or a means for getting on, where meet up and sign them in at the visitor center or
Yeah.
whatever to be able to get on base.
Yeah, luckily for me, working for Boeing, I have a CAT card. So I could still get on the base. It might ask why I'm getting on as a contractor, but hopefully they'll just let me get on with that if it's just fishing, but we'll work something out. All right, so a couple things I'll tie today. There's probably about 3 different flies. One of them, I think, was the first time we started video taping these and recording these. We had that Sun Tao, and he was doing those cool squirmy worm grubs. And so I kind of
Those
tied.
look good.
Yeah, these actually do well. You know, I got the tan color that looks more like a grub, but you know, the pink looks good as well. And it's squirmy worm material. The pink one, long one, first time I tried it was like a year ago at the same event. Nothing seemed to be working when I was going with the smaller nymphs and all that. Put this on, and first cast I caught a trout with it. So like I said, they kind of like the meatier, bigger flies. So you can make them short like I did here, or a little bit longer. And I think they were calling these crane fly nymphs is what Sun Tao was calling them. So again, you could do them in different sizes. We'll do probably the pink one. That did well. And the crazy things with this is you need to tie enough for what you think you're going to use for your day of fishing. I made a bunch of these thinking, oh, these are great, and put some in a little box that I kept with me. And after a while, they degrade real quick. They start breaking. So tie 10 what you might need for the day. But if you think you're going to store a bunch, they don't store very well. They start degrading and start popping. So, but for the day of fishing, these do really well at Merrimack. So I'll tie the purple one or the pink one, but it's doing the same thing, just a different hook with the tan and making it a little bit shorter. Next thing I'll do is these little marabous. These do really good. You could tie them in the black and yellow like I have here, and I'll probably do, I'm going to try green and yellow, which when they call these John Deere with the green and yellow, and those have done well. Last December, I was out at Merrimack. I was throwing everything at them and could not catch a trout until I went to the John Deere, which is similar, which is what I'll tie with this. And I finally, I think I caught 3, and then I did a back cast and lost my one and only John Deere, and that was it for fishing. I just couldn't catch anything after that. So I'll have a bunch ready for that. So I'll do these. This is a quick, easy tie as well. And then the other one that I've heard really well, it looks a whole lot like a mop fly, but they call these the green weenie. And it's just using some chenille. Real easy tie. And when I looked at Merrimack, what they're talking about right now is this chartreuse green color with some black at the top has been the big winner for the past couple of weeks. So I'll have a bunch of these tied up as well. And these you could crank out real quick. So I might start with this, but we'll do that. We could talk while I'm tying. If you have any questions, just let me know. Let me see. For this one, I'm just bought some easy jig heads. This is weight 124, size 10 hook. I got this at, I think I bought this at Feathercraft. So, though you can find these probably at Cabela's as well. I know you can, because here's the other size I bought. These are Cabela's 164. So a little bit more weight put to get it down. I'll probably do the marabou jig on this one as well. So But again, jig hooks work really well at Merrimack, and it makes it a little bit easier. There's a lot of tree cover there, and Trout Unlimited even put some trees and then put cages around them to protect them from the deer. And those always seem to suck up a lot of our flies. So be careful out there when you're out there. So for the thread, I'm just using this chenille, or this chartreuse color, I should say. I've already got it wrapped up. Let's bring that back over. There we go. It's Ultra Thread 140. That's a size I kind of like. It's usually my go-to. And I'm just going to just put a thread base down on it. Get rid of the tag end. You will see why you could put these out in numbers if you want. I will just take that to the very bend of the hook. And chenille, just get this neon chartreuse looking. Just, oh, that work. I already have a little piece there already. That should work. Tie that in. I just kind of hold it up so it keeps it on top of the hook. I'll wrap a couple at the end. Now to make that tail, I'm just going to make a quick little loop. Make it as long as you want. Just kind of tighten that in. If you really want to make sure this isn't going anywhere, what I do after that is once I make the loop, I take what I'll wrap there and actually bring the thread forward. And then I'll just put a half loop there, which is my save button. Now I don't have to worry about it. If you want, and I've done this a couple times, if you want to make sure this is very durable of a fly, take a little bit of Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. You could just put a little bit on top, which will help lock that all in. You can do it if you want, not necessary. Oh, and now
Where do you get that Sally Hansen Hard as Nails?
Walgreens. I kid you not.
Oh,
I
okay.
looked at Walgreens, and they have so many different kinds. Here's another. It's all Sally Hansen's, and this one I see what everyone's using. Told my wife I needed some Sally Hansen's, and she got me this, and it's the same to me. I know Amy actually has some that is actually like quick drying, which, you know, if you're trying to put a coat and then work on it, I think it dries within a minute. You could try that as well. So
Okay.
that's Walgreens, CVS, any of those places, Walmart, that's anywhere. So
Okay, thanks.
you're welcome. But after that, I'm just going to start making touching wraps. I'm not trying to grab my thread with me. Should have given myself a little bit more. Sorry, I'm blocking it, but cut myself a little bit too short of a section. Let's get that a little bit closer so I can work with it. Try to save on materials, but that's a little ridiculous. That's fine. So with that, you just do a little cut off the excess, a couple quick wraps, and then green and black seems to be working, so I'm just going to go with this ice dub from Hairline. Again, you could get this at any of the local shops. $3.60, and this stuff will last you a long time. If you wanted, you could go a little heavy on it. Just put a little bit on. start wrapping it. That's all I got to do is give a little color. Again, the Sally Hansen's, this is something I will do, Frank, is I like locking the thread in with that. So I just take a little bit of it. I just coat a little bit of that thread.
Oh, okay.
And then once you kind of wrap right behind that bead head, once that dries, that's going to lock in there. And even though when you do a whip finish there with the whip finish and that little bit of cement, this fly is going to last you a long time. And then, like I said, I did a little bit on the body so it shouldn't shred too much. Got my little popsicle stick with some Velcro hooks. And just kind of tease up some of that dubbing. Now I got a little buggy, and it is kind of neat to see with the light that I go, and you can see the chartreuse is really shine, so it will do well. I mean, again, this is a very simple fly and has done very well. You could put these out in numbers, and I'll have a bunch of these if you want to try them. But very simple jig hooks, some chenille and dubbing, and you're good to go on that. Any questions on that easy one before I start going to the difficult ones?
Oh, that's nice looking.
Yeah,
You
it
strip,
works.
Nick, you strip that in?
You could do it one of two ways. You could strip that in, you know, cast it out there, let it sink a little bit, and just do quick, short strips. And down low, this will do real good. The other way to do it is if you could throw it under an indicator and just cast it out there, and as it cruises, Merrimack is just, I know they're rainbow trout, the same trout you find at Bennett, but they act a little bit different. When they hit stuff like this, they bury my indicator. It's almost like bluegill fishing, where it's not just a little tip of the indicator. My indicator goes underneath and it's gone. So it's either way works fine. You know, it's unfortunately where I had my accident with my arm, doing a lot of casting, starts wearing out my arm early. So all I have to do if I'm stripping it in and my arm starts getting tired, I'll throw an indicator under there. And usually Merrimack's a slow stream where I could cast it out there and I'll get a good 20-second drift out of it. And so that helps out. So you can do it either way. Pretty much all of them that I'm doing today, right now, I'm looking at them. You could either strip them in or put them under an indicator. Right now, these are sitting on jig hooks with a 90 degrees. So those would be really good under an indicator, but do just as well if you're going to try to strip them in. So it's your choice. If you get tired of trying to do stripping, it's like throwing on an indicator and cast it out and take it a little bit easy. But it's simple. If you look at it, it's on par with a mop fly. You know, so if you have that green chartreuse mop fly material, it's basically the same thing, but instead of mop fly, you're just making it out of chenille. But works very well. And looking at the reports at Merrimack, these are seen very hot. So I know through the rest of the week, I'll be making a bunch of these. So look for me on Saturday and I'll have tried everything out and I'll have a bunch of these ready for everyone if they want them. Any questions on this? Again, real simple fly.
Nice one.
Okay, thank you. The next one I will do now is this one, which is the crane fly larva, but in pink. So we'll start with the hook. Again, this is at Wholesale Fly Company. I really do like this company. You get these 100 hooks for like $7. And this is their Model 5, which is a natural bend hopper. I just keep them in all these pill bottles that I bought, but I will show you what they look like right here. So it's got just a very natural, little bend to it. Almost straight shank, but it's got a little bend, which this almost looks straight here, but it does have a natural bend to it. And that is size 8. I think I have them in size 10 as well. But this one is size 8, and this is done very well. Like I said, for some reason, Merrimack's been doing, it always seems to do better for me if I use a little bit bigger fly. So I will start that one off. Same thread, just different color, the 140 UTC. Again, I'm just going to start with a nice little base, or actually before I do that, I need to put a bead on it. Again, wholesale, I got a slotted tungsten bead. This is a 3mm 1/8 size, and got it in black. So glad I caught myself beforehand. Now, if you wanted, if you don't have the beads, you could always weight it down with some lead wrap if you want. So there we go. That looks better. I'm just gonna, this is a slotted bead because I need it to get through that bend, and that hook there is kind of tight. If I had just a normal bead, it wouldn't make it that corner. So I'm just doing a nice thread wrap. You do want to make sure you have a good thread wrap with this, because that squirmy worm is squirmy, and it will try to roll on you and slide. And having a good base down will help prevent this from trying to run on you. Go right to where I see that bend coming down. And I'll bring it forward. For the squirmy worm material, I got this from when we had Sun Tao on, this Castor's Squirmito. It's this tan color. This has worked very well for me. So if you want to go tan, this is good. The other brand that I've used, and I have it in this pink, and I get this from Amazon, the Sam's EX. They give you a lot for the price, and it's just this pinkish color. So either one works. It's your choice. Both are very great. And all I do is I cut off a section that's about three inches, but as you can see, it stretches way out. And that's the tricky part of this fly, is you want to try to have it taper towards the end, so you're kind of pulling a little bit, and as you're going forward, you're going to start releasing some of the tension and make it a little bit bulkier at towards the hook eye. So I'm just going to catch this in. Oh, I got you now. Let's cut that piece off later. And again, I kind of hold it towards me. And when I was practicing, I haven't done it again. You want to get it on with the thread, but be careful. Too much pressure will break it on you. The next thing I need, copper wire small. This is going to help with the segmentation. And just give yourself 4 or 5 inches of that. And I'm going to bring my thread forward again.
Where'd you get that clip on your wire, Nick?
I got that from, and this is a cool thing, and there's no name or anything on it. And it's just like whatever that same material from scuba gear. I don't know, neoprene. And it just kind of, let me see if I could, it just kind of pulls through, and it keeps it from
unraveling on you.
Unraveling, and it's got a little hole in it where you could put it through.
just like
I
the
s-
tippet material. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat. I can't find them anywhere except for the ones that a couple years back, Amy was trying to get, had a donation and she's like, go through stuff. And I saw this and I grabbed it. And so my wire always, I got to be careful with it because every time I take it, it just unravels on me. And
Be a way to repurpose some of those little koozies or whatever for your drinks.
Yeah, really.
exactly.
Show,
Some of
show
those-
me, show us how the other side, how that is connected.
Basically,
Like if it's just got a hole and looks like they made like an
Yeah.
arrowhead, so you just. pull
Yeah,
it
Oh,
through the
okay.
hole.
All right, you don't have to take it apart.
yeah,
I got
so
it now.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a hole here and then
that's a great
like
idea.
arrowhead. And I didn't do that, but that's a good idea to do it. The other thing I have, let me see, I got this from Walt, where those binders, like if they have like briefing binders, they got these little plastic
Oh, yeah, yeah.
things like that. He gave me a bunch of those where that kind of helps keep my thread that way. And possibly you could use that too, as a kind of, that locks it and you might be able to get away with that for the wire too. But yeah, this was neat. I've tried to find for Amazon. I can't find this anywhere. So I might have to try it. I like them so much. I might try it. Anytime you go to any kind of craft fair or something like they're giving out those koozies. I never even thought about cutting one of those up and trying to repurpose it and making more of those. So now I got a project to do. So I'm going to try that. Now doing that, I was like, okay, where's my wire? But luckily I found it. I was going to have to cut another piece. So I'll put in the small wire. Get one piece of rubber to go down a little bit. So that's locked in. Now the last thing I have to put in, let's see if I can get that little thing to go down, is the thin skin, which is that black layer on top there. And looks like this. They have different colors. This is just straight black. Last week, I think John and I got a good laugh where I tried to use that little cutter on the foam and it didn't work, but guess what? It works really good with this. So again, let me just get this in. If you kind of put it where you guys could see it. This, now we'll cut that just fine. And I think I lost it. It's kind of hard doing it that way. Let me try it. As much as I tried doing that way, it didn't want to work. But if I'm watching it, makes a nice little piece like that. Just go short-wise with that, and then you could actually get 2 flies out of one of these. All I do is cut at a 45 in the middle, because then that little tip will be the easy spot to kind of tie in on. So now you've done that on both sides. It does have a backing, but it's not like it's sticky. It's just kind of hard to get off. Once you get it off, it just comes off. There's no glue or anything. And I will just tie this in at the end. Okay, so that's the material. Now I'd say the next part is the hardest part of this fly. That's getting that squirmy worm to work. I'm actually gonna still do it with my hands, but I got my bobbin holder off to the side. When you're doing this, you're going to want to use your index finger and your thumb. So while you're holding your thumb and you're going over, you never want to let tension go on this or it'll unravel. So while you pressure with your thumb, you're moving over, and once you have it down, you're coming around, you'll use your index finger to hold it that way. You're just going to alternate between your thumb and index finger to hold it in place, because this stuff is what it's called, squirming worm. It's going to try to roll all over on you. It'll take several tries to get the hang of it, but once you get it, it's not too bad. At the very bottom, you want to kind of make it thin, so you'll kind of like give it a little bit pull, but as you're going forward, you're going to relax it a little bit. So we'll give it a try. So I had my first, and I'm holding it with my index finger, coming back around with my thumb. Now you can see I'm holding my thumb. I'll bring it back. Now I've got it with my index finger, come back around with my thumb. As you can see, I'm actually going to take it away. Well, it's kind of holding pretty good right now. The thread's holding it, but it will try to run on you. And you just start doing those wraps, so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just trying to make a nice little segment out of it. Just kind of let you see as I go forward with it. And I think I'll call that good. We'll secure that in. I've done this a few times, so when you try, if you try to do this yourself, you're like, oh, Mick made it easy. Sun made it look real easy and really nice. I can see I still have some that are a little bit mismatched in size, but that'll work. And then you give it a nice little tug, and then it's nice and tight. Just wrap it up a little bit more to make sure it's not going anywhere. Now the next part is taking this thin skin. It's kind of thick on mine. It's a little bit thicker than what I wanted, but you want to bring it over, give one wrap, two wrap loose, and then kind of pull down a little bit. Then you can get rid of the excess here. If you wrap up a little bit at the front, that's fine, because we're going to be doing some dubbing there. And again, I'm going to put a half hitch in there, which is my save button. And now we're going to go to the wire on segmentation. You can see all the different segments you have, and what you're trying to do is put that wire right in there, and that's going to create it. But what you want to do is you're going through that. When you're coming along the top, try not to put so much pressure until you're going straight down. And then you just kind of find that next segment, and then you're pulling down to make that nice top shell look. Just going and making those segments, putting it right between what you've already created with the squirming worm. Then you just put a couple wraps up front. And now secure the whole thing in. Couple wraps front, couple wraps back. Good. Make sure you use your dull scissors with the wire. And now again, I'm going back to the same ice dub black peacock. Same thing. I'm going to grab a little bunch of it. We're just going to make it look a little bit buggy on top. Now, the one thing I will caution on is this squirmy worm material doesn't like any kind of glue, adhesive, or anything like that. So if you do it, make sure you had a good base like I did before with thread and some of that skin, and use it very sparingly. And again, I'm just kind of doing it on the thread, just a little bit to lock it in. But on some scuds and all that with this thin skin, they cover it with any kind of the Sally Hansen or the UV resin. You don't want to do that with this, because that material will break within 15 minutes. A couple whip finishes and you're done. So again,
Nice.
Sun Tao taught that us, or if you look on YouTube for all our videos, our first one that I ever pinned was of Sun Tao doing this. And I think it was shortly after that I took it to Merrimack, and it worked very well. Any questions on that one?
No, that looks great.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit to get used with the squirmy worm, because it will try to run on you. I haven't tied these in about a year, so even my back section's a little bit off, but I don't think the fish are going to mind it. I think that'll fish well next Saturday. So again, you could use the pink or the tan. Both work well. You could even make it a little bit shorter too if you wanted. Little grubs. I don't think the fish can't resist having a little grub. So this is the time of year the caterpillars are coming out. So this could fool them on that. I think that's what they're saying, the green weenie that I showed earlier too. That kind of looks like caterpillars to them. So that's that one. I will do one quick more. This is just a very small kind of woolly bugger, but without any of the hackle. This one, I'm going to change up the color a little bit. Actually do the green and yellow instead of the black and yellow. So again, I showed you, this is a little bit bigger from Cabela's. Again, it's just a jig head brass with a 90-degree eyelet to it. You could use, there's so many different colors of chenille. There's a green that I had for the green weenie, but I think I'm going to try the smaller olive, because that's basically what I think I had for my marabou. So I will go with that, but I'm going to do it a little bit different with this one. Every time I talk to Ben Haven, especially when we were there for the Vets Fish Free, John, I think you were the one that had all the color thread, and the hot pink, he kept on grabbing and saying that produces the best hot spot for the fish at Bennett. So I grabbed a couple of those, and that's where I'll put this collar of hot pink to it. So that's what I will be using, is this hot pink thread as our base. And again, this is the UTC. Sorry, I didn't show you. Let's see if I could unwrap it, but the 140, that's the size I like using. And just get the nice thread base going. Get rid of the tag end. All right, I'll be using two types or two colors of marabou. You got the yellow, and I picked up some of this green stuff, which looks pretty good, but it's not as long, so it's a little bit harder to use, but I got a big bag of it for cheap. So I'll be doing these two colors. I'll start with the yellow And when I'm doing the normal woolly buggers, I'll use the tips and all that. This, I actually try to grab the sides, and I will grab 2 clumps off the side. So that's my first clump, and then I will take a second clump, kind of just transfer it. So I got this little bunch right here. I will tie that in. Tail's already long, and I want to keep this kind of short. So at this time, to make it easier for me, I just start popping some of the tails off, and that's about the length I want. Let's see, I got a couple stragglers. Let me do a couple more wraps on this. So I'm losing some of these. That's better. And with the green, I'm going to do the same thing. Try to, these are really short, but three clumps. It's the strangest marabou I've ever seen, but we'll make it work. Go to Bennett, or if you hear anyone saying, John Deere, this is the fly that they're talking about. We'll cut some of this excess off. Though there's actually their jig head, they paint green with a yellow eye. I don't know if that's going to make that much of a difference, but I don't think it will. So I will put some chenille down.
Oh, okay, then yeah, it won't be so bad. You've got to be exhausted.
Tie that in.
Oh, but you are. But it's
Keep it at like a 45, just to keep it laying on top really nice. Doing it.
How long will that cover? Oh, really?
You could call that quits right here for material, but I've got a piece somewhere. Here it is. If you want to add a little flash, this Crystal Flash Pearl, this is my favorite. It just has this really cool color to it, easy to work with. I know I got this at Hargroves, a little pricey, $5, but this goes a long way. And with this, I'll just take a little piece of it, fold it once, get the chenille out of the way. So right now it's folded in twice, and I'm going to make it 4. And I'm just going to put it on top, wrap that in. Loop. So it adds a little bit of flash to it. I haven't used that before on my others, but trying to do it now. With all the marabou and all this, again, to make the fly a little bit durable, I will add a little bit of Sally Hansen's to everything here to lock it in. And the chenille will hold it in. So now I just wrap, make sure you don't grab some of those feathers. You just want to do touch and wraps. If you wanted to do like a woolly bugger, if you wanted, you could put some hackle on it. Just adds a little bit to it. This is your fly, so however you want to do it. I'll wrap this a couple times front and back. Take out the excess bit. Now this is where you could then wrap it in, get that nice hot spot pink collar up there. And again, I'm just going to put a little bit of Sally Hansen's on the thread to help lock that in. Quick whip finish. We are done. So this again, you could do it. I've got this green and yellow with a little bit of flash, or you could do black and yellow. Both work very well. Again, you could strip this in or put it under an indicator, however you want to do it. These work very well at Merrimack. Any questions on these?
Oh, another nice looking one.
Yep.
You the man. You the man.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say the local bass have been catching and just been knocking the heck out of a black and yellow jig.
So there you go. Take a couple home with you from this Saturday and take them to the lakes and get those bass while you're at it too then. But that's about all I have for time.
Very nice, Mick.
Let me get back to a normal screen. So that's I got. Any questions?
Yeah,
That's about it. So
How many veterans volunteers are you expecting? I plan on coming.
yeah, I think I got 10. And while we're just sitting here, I'm going to bring it up and I will double check to see where we're at. That's kind of cool thing is now I got the back view of it. Let me find out what we have. I'll tell you right away. I can give you names who's showing up. Okay, it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 that will have show up. So we have, let me see. It looks like I have 3 participants. So which go, we have an Andrew Sharp. I can't picture him off top of my head, but we got Don Pullman and Scott Crone, who've been with us out several times now. They're showing up. Dave, we've got you marked down. We got Ken House, Margie and I, Roger and Walt. And then Terry, you said you'll be showing up, but I
Yeah.
don't have you, so add you to that. So
you have to
And
see
Mick,
whether
I'll be
Walt
there.
can come or not, because last week he said COVID, so I don't know where he is in that as to
That's
how long he
true.
has to.
so that's
We
right.
did,
'Cause,
we did Roger?
Walt,
Walt has
Oh,
COVID
Walt, yeah.
COVID, third time, yeah.
third time.
Yeah, I heard that. Wow,
Basically,
that's
that's
scary.
yeah, that's another thing that Scott, our participant, is really close to him. I think he's only like 9 minutes away. So one of these weekends, that's why I'm thinking 25th is where I said we'll do the Bromsliak, but I'm thinking the 18th I'll see if Walt would want some company, and if you guys wanted to go, I think Scott and I are just gonna try to go fish with him, because it's a little bit harder for him to come out, so. I think he'd like some company, so I think Scott and I are gonna go out there. If you guys are interested, I'll see if Walt could handle a gang of us, so.
And Mick, I will be there also Saturday.
Cool, all right. No problems. It's yeah, I'm just looking here. You've heard Amy talk about the CRM, so I get to see it right now too, so I could see who, is,
Yeah,
Yeah, because I put yes for my name, so I don't know what happened.
okay,
I don't think I got one of those CRM requests in the mail.
okay, I'll
you?
double check, because I'm still learning this out,
Yeah.
and when I did this, I struggled a little bit because there's like 90 people that are attached to St. Louis on this.
Yeah,
And what I need to do is sort it a little bit better, where for sure our participants will get in there, but then for volunteers, I have active and inactive. And make sure I'm not sending out to inactive as well, because I think that kind of made it a little bit too big, and maybe some of them didn't go across. So I've learned how to do participants and then active volunteers. So that will shorten my list up a little bit.
Why don't you just make a query on that, Nick? What we used to call a view in the old days.
What was it?
We used to call them views, where you can actually create a fake table that's got all the things you want. For example, if you just want your participants that are active, you can create a new view called active participants, and that's all it will show us.
Okay, then it's like I said, I'm learning it and I'll get there. But yeah, it's, when I first did this one, it was at 90 or over 100 people I sent this out. So I don't know if I killed the system or not. Looking at the majority of these are invitations sent and heard nothing back. So some of these people,
Not uncommon.
yeah, I don't recognize some of them. It's just, for me, I've been doing this for a little bit over 2 years. I've only got to do JB, I think 6 times, and then we were on the COVID lockdown. So I know a lot of them, I'm still keeping in touch with emails. Everyone gets the emails, but I think a lot of them are just waiting for JB to open up, and then we'll see a lot more of these volunteers. So
Yeah, any more information from the VA towards that at all?
nothing. I try to keep in contact with them at least once a week, just saying, hey, we're still here, and like, we're still here too. We'll let you know. And there's rumor of later this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah.
We've been pulsed by the VA here locally, and they want to know if we can come back, and of course we can. So they're talking, in fact, I may be going to a meeting here this week or next week about when we're going to start up again with the VA Recovery Center. So
Yeah. And I'm hoping,
crank face-to-face back up again, so.
yeah, and that's what I want to do. I put out a bunch of emails to American Legions and VFW halls that seem to kind of be a good central location, just to see if I could maybe plan one night a month in person. Zoom's fun, but I know we all want to see some smiley faces and get in there and kind of tie. And if
Let me
they,
tell you someplace else you can check, Nick. If you've got a local community college or a local college there in St. Louis, and I know you do, see if they've got a military veterans service center.
all right, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, that's where we go on. In fact, I've got a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with Bellevue University MPSC. So,
Okay, I appreciate the help. I'd like to try to start going that way. JB's not open, but if I could get a place where we could go in there and just kind of chat and tie, and kind of a thought process. I thought is come in, we'll chat, tie up a dozen of your favorite flies or something like that. At the end of the night, we just kind of divvy them up, and everyone gets to go home with different flies. And if there's a parking lot or a open field there, we could do some fly casting as well. So
yeah, most of them have pretty good facilities.
Someone's got the Andy Griffith Show going.
Oh, yeah. I'll get upstairs.
Start whistling with it.
Yeah, that's an over-the-air channel, so,
Yeah, I love those. Me TV. So,
yeah, that's it. There you go. Me TV and H&I are my two favorites.
yep. And then,
Another hour and I get to sit down and watch the Star Trek series.
cool. Saturday at 7 is my favorite. Svengoolie.
Svengoolie?
You like Svengoolie too, Mick?
I
Yeah.
love Svengoolie. I got his t-shirt and everything.
Yeah, I love his Boris Karloff films.
Yeah, he was from Chicago and he was our local guy, which we went crazy for. So when I heard he was back on air, I was like,
Yeah,
love it.
Svengoolie.
For about 10 years.
Yep. But that's all I got. So it looks like we have a nice group showing up on Saturday. Like I said, I think I have a 9 o'clock show. You know, you come at any time. If you're running late, no big deal. Hopefully you guys, you know, in the emails that I send out, you have my cell phone. Text me or anything. I'll make sure I'm glued to it. If you need anything, holler. Any questions, via my email, text, phone, whatever you need, get a hold of me. But Saturday should be a good time. It was a fun time last year. And if I recall, last June, that was probably our best we did at Merrimack. Usually we're doing okay when it comes to going, because it's open. So there is no zones there. You're fishing right next to somebody who might be using dough bait.
Yeah.
But if I recall, that was a good day for everyone. I mean, we were all catching several. So it was a good time. So
Okay.
that's all I got. Again, I'll think of something for next Monday to tie. Unless anyone has anything now that they want to suggest, let me know.
How
Maybe-
about
Okay, well.
rabbit or
They call when you need,
whatever zonkers?
Rabid zonkers?
Couple minutes.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll try to look up some rabid zonker stuff, and that gives me an excuse to go to visit Tom Hargrove, get some zonker stuff. If there's anything that you could actually think of a fly with rabid zonker, let me know. If not,
well, the reason I said that is because my nephew's been going to Montauk,
okay,
and he said that white rabbit zonker strips with some of the white streaming materials in there, but primarily all white.
okay.
He said he was doing really good on them.
All right, because it was a couple times ago, I was at Tom, you know, talking to him, and someone was looking for, it was either a rabbit or squirrel. Squirrel
Yeah.
zonkers are smaller, they're like micro, and then the rabbit's thicker, and they were ordering white for the gentleman. So if Tom doesn't have it, I always try to go Tom first. If not, I know I could go down the street to Feathercraft. They have everything. So I'll pick up some white rabbit zonker and
Well, you might be able to go to Goodwill stop and get some lady's old rabbit coat.
exactly. I still have the little that you gave me, but he's not white, but I still have. I won't use him. I have him on my little table here as my little mascot. So, yep. So, all right, that's all I got. I won't keep any more. Again, happy Memorial Day. It's,
Yeah.
Same to you, Mick.
Yeah.
Enjoy your
Good seeing
time.
everybody.
And
Thank you all for
care.
your thank you all for your service, and let's remember all those people that have passed.
yep, for sure.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, have a good evening, and I'll see most of you, if not all of you, on Saturday.
Saturday.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you,
Okay,
Mick. Thanks,
guys.
Mick.
See ya.
Thanks, Mick.
You're welcome, guys.